Well, hello there. Good evening and welcome. Live on Twitch, II Racing League. Joined, of course, by the Cookie Monster himself, TD. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, TT. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm good. The pizza has just gone in.
What pizza we got today?
The same as normal.
Oh. Do you eat anything different?
Yeah, I just didn't want to change it.
Fair. So, could be a momentous race tonight. IRossJ could wrap up this championship here this evening. It's not massively complicated, but I'll try and put it as simply as I can. Tamino, if he finishes third or lower, Ross will be champion. If Tamino finishes second, Ross needs to get P8 or higher. And if Tamino wins the race, Ross needs to finish in the top 5. That's all there is to know.
If Ross finishes
in
the top 5 position, he wins.
Yes, or regardless of what Tamino does, Ross could win this today. So 4 races left of the season. We've got USA. Next week we are in Mexico. In 2 weeks' time we have Brazil with a sprint race and a feature race, and then the season finale in Abu Dhabi. In between Brazil and Abu Dhabi we will have a 2-week break for Christmas and New Year. And I imagine during that time we'll be sorting out a lot of details for Season 4. So, towards the end of the season, you will know a lot of details about what's happening for Season 4. Which is exciting.
I'll tell you one thing that is confirmed.
Go on.
KD is winning the championship.
So you hit it here first. TD is winning the No Assist Championship next season.
No assist.
Nah, stop chicking out.
That's more like for most DNFs in the championship. Or for most fastest laps stolen on the last lap.
The usual pizza is something chicken, isn't it?
For the past few weeks it's been chicken with herb dressing. It smells like garlic bread with chicken on top.
There you go. Evening, Tamino. Probably need rain to have the pace. Okay. Need some miracles to win the championship. You're on the toilet. Thanks for letting us know.
Oh.
It is blazing sunshine.
The complete opposite.
Well, what I do know, and what I can tell you, Tamino, is Ross has only done 4 laps practice. So
Ross doesn't do practice any week, so it doesn't really matter.
I know it might give him some confidence, you know.
Psychological advantage.
No rain expected, thank you, IRossJ.
Yes.
No pressure, mate. But you could win back-to-back NA championships here this evening.
We definitely didn't put any pressure on Ross before we left the party earlier.
I mean, Tamino is right. It would take a miracle to win the because Ross would need to then DNF in all 4 feature races plus the sprint race in Brazil.
Yeah, well, that's fine.
Has not happened to that extent before. So Yeah, it would be a miracle. Ross is very consistent, as we all know. His stats this season in NA have been absolutely incredible. We'll touch on them later. Feature driver tonight will be very own home racer John from the States. Don't think this is his favourite track.
Extremely bright.
Yeah, that seems to be a bit of a complaint the drivers have, but I think it's just for quali. I think in the race it'll be better.
But just looking on board the Joseph, and you couldn't even see the end of a straight.
So I'm sure drivers then will have to look at their track map very closely. That is a silly comment, Ross. TD never leaves people alone.
I know why you said that. I'm a system on Xbox and just put a bottle.
So John ran the final corner to start this lap.
That's Joseph.
DRS activation. Joseph, sorry, thank you. DRS activation to the first corner, heavy braking zone, and careful on the throttle exit down that little hill, because you could easily lock up the tyres and lose some traction. We'll go back on board with John then, because Joseph's backed off. Through turn 2, easy flat. Then the start of this beautiful and tricky S section, a left right into turn 7, easy to invalidate. Turn 8 and turn 9 also very easy to do so, but when you nail it, it is epic. No DRS down to the heavy braking zone of turn 11, round the hairpin into what looks like a shooting start. DRS activation all the way down towards turn 12, very tricky braking point. You can cut that inside curb because the curb is so thin you won't actually go off track, all four wheels. Through this double right double left section into turn 15, very tricky braking point. You will see drivers going side by side in this section through the very long right of 16, 17 and 18. Sets you up for two final left-handers. Again, easy to invalidate on that one. Turn 19 and turn 20, the final one. DRS activation before the line. And John sets the benchmark.
Tell you what, even though John were on medium, the amount of trust that he actually had in the car going through the S section was incredible.
For information about our league, that is a link to check out. And if you want to check out the standings, there's your link in the chat. But we will be keeping you well up to date with the championship picture throughout the course of the evening. So TD, from your perspective as a mediocre racer,
wow.
Do you enjoy this track?
Yes and no. It's very, very frustrating.
What do you enjoy about it?
Getting a good lap. That's what I enjoy. What I don't enjoy is not getting a good lap. It's one of them tracks that it is extremely hard to get a really good lap because of how tricky it is. You've obviously got the S section, the whole bit of it you can mess up. and then the really slow section out of at the start of sector 3 is also really tricky, so it just makes it hard. And then the final 2 corners are just, it's really hard to get it right and actually properly connect to the corners.
Definitely a track that favours those on the wheel. And maybe you find it so frustrating because you're on the pad. Ross has a bit of a snap through 19, shouldn't have cost him too much time. It's only a short run to turn 20, so they have it Ross currently 3rd fastest, but still over a second away from Joseph Hales, who has set the benchmark. I was going to say pretty high, but obviously the lower your lap time, the better.
A bit of a scuffy lap for Ross, especially through the S section. He looks a bit wide on a couple of VS's, maybe just, like you said, just getting a bit of practice in because it's only his 5th lap.
Oh, Tamino goes for a bit of a spin at turn 2, and he will get out of the way of Patch, who has invalidated in this opening sector.
That's
18 here tonight, but I think Hungry Throne will be joining a little bit later.
Gonna do a last to 3rd again. There you go, that's my prediction.
So, as Pete goes for a bit of a spin, both McLarens having
oh no,
and Greg as well.
Greg. Oh, Mr. Wiggles, but I was thinking of 18.
So, 3 early spins in this opening session. Get all your mistakes out now. We have a Ferrari off track 2. That'll be Rev on an out lap.
They were just getting out of the way for him too.
Been really impressed with Issy this season, leading the championship in 82 by around 70 points now, so he's in a really strong position to win the 82 championship. We've got Josh in 81 who is leading the 81 championship by around 60 or 70 points too, so we may not get too much drama towards the end of the season. This race and next are going to be the 2 races that really decide these championships.
Although it's not today, just a happy birthday for yesterday for Hissy. There you go.
Indeed, many happy returns. Not going to say how old Hissy is.
3 nearly 6.
Uh-huh.
3 nearly 6. You get the lesson.
And Hissy, as he approaches the end of his lap, goes over the track limits, invalidates, and drops back into the pits.
Probably the best time for you to get invalidating right at the end. You can pop right into the pits.
One thing I will be saying is, currently England are playing Wales in the World Cup. We will not be giving any spoilers out as commentators.
I'll mute my mic.
And
oh, there man goes for a spin. Oh, when hits the wall.
So yes, if you're in chat and you're watching the football as well, maybe just refrain from posting score updates, because I'd like to watch the match on catch up.
You just watch it now. Have both on.
Oh, my internet doesn't allow me to do that. It's a bit of a slower start. Not in terms of lap time, but just in terms of the pace of the session. Bit of a slower start. We're down to under 7 minutes left, and we've still got 6 drivers yet to set a time. Smaller and Pete have 2 bankers in, but they can obviously go quicker than that. So we're still awaiting 8 lap times that are quicker than what they are, so we really have a picture of who might drop out of this session. Evening, Joseph and Deton. I hope you're well.
And we have the first man into a 23s.
The 33s.
33s. Been at work, okay. I might make mistakes.
I'm not mocking you.
Yeah.
As Prev goes for a spin at turn 1. Easily done there. It's nothing to do with the corner itself, it's just to do with the nature of the exit.
Traction as well.
Try driving and watch it. Yeah, you're mad. Honestly. I couldn't do that. I have to focus on one thing at a time. It's not like I can listen to football commentary in my ear as I'm doing Formula 1 commentary. That would be very odd. I'd probably start copying what the football commentator's saying. So more lap times coming in. Greg can improve on that, as can Prev and Pete. Still out on track, them 3, as well as the 2 Hasses and the 2 Alfa Romeos who are yet to set a time in this session. Joseph Hales has retired. Feels comfortable on that 34.1 as Deton runs wide. Doesn't get invalidated, gets away with it. This lap will count from Deton. And it's P11. So not too bad, but might need a bit more improvement on another run. But Tamino has invalidated this run, as Deflated Wheat also retires from the session. 4 minutes left. Drivers might use the medium compound tyres here just to save a set of softs for Q3.
The man, the legend, is back.
Well, you can't be talking about you, surely.
No, can't. I'm the man, the myth, just not the legend.
Why are you a myth?
I don't know. I'm a weirdo.
We already know everything we need to know about you. Here's a nice lap there. Bit of a practice session for him. Practice race for him. Preparing for Sunday night where he might win the championship. So everyone's popped in there with a lap with the exception of Tamino. Rev has invalidated this attempt. Might go into the pits for another set of tyres. Just depends on
And he spins.
how much fuel he's got. Both Hasses in the top 8, so their first flying runs should be good enough to get them through to Q2 here. Tamino might find himself in a bit of bother here. You can't go into the pits and come out again, so he needs to go for one final run, and he's running a bit low on fuel. So this is going to be interesting to see if Tamino can make it.
He'd be okay.
At the end of the lap, pops in there with 7th, and should be good enough.
Pev's struggled this session. He won't get back out now, but he's struggled this session. A few spins, few invalidations. It's unfortunate for him.
Dayman, that's a pretty decent lap on the mediums. 3/10 almost quicker than Padge, 3/10 quicker than that guy who is out on a lap and looking to improve. Bottom 3 heading out. Obviously we know Greg and Prev will be 2 of those drivers. Question is, will it be Colucci, Deton, that guy, or Padge for the slot? Ranier is
not going back out.
Ranier is joining late, so he will start 19th on the grid. And we're expecting Hungry Throne, who will be 20th. Here comes Dayman on a set of soft tyres and goes 7th fastest. That will get him through very nicely. Deton, this will be no improvements, and don't know how long's left of session. Well, Deton is coming into the pits, so it is between Colucci and Deton.
I don't know what Colucci is doing. I think he might have got a poor exit out of the final corner or something, but
maybe. But Colucci has retired on track, which is a little bit naughty. Probably get a warning for that for the stewards. That guy then is safe and through. Doesn't matter too much what lap time he sets, or whether it's valid or not.
It's valid somehow.
And perhaps a little bit fortunate, because did run wide on his attempt, but still goes 12th fastest.
Definitely lost a couple of attempts there, so we still know there's some pace in that guy.
Flew is through. It's a nice play on words, if I do say so myself.
I thought that.
And Flew flies into the pits.
Brilliant.
So, not the most dramatic session we've ever had. Very much, I'm not going to say business as usual, as in the people at the bottom are slow, but it's kind of where we expected people based on what we've seen this season. Not too many surprises. Maybe Prev could have improved on that 49.0 and maybe might have popped himself up in there, but hard to really predict. But most of those top runners just did the one run. Mr. Wiggles currently fastest, the only one in the 1 minute 33s. Joseph Hale's not too far behind. Deflated Wee, John Ross, Hissy, Dayman, Tamino, Pete and Perry Jerry in the top 10. Heading out of this session, Greg will start 16th on the grid, Colucci 17th, Prev in 18th. It's an all Dutch row 9. And in 19th place we will have Ranier, who has just joined the session. Spin on your final lap, says Deton. That is unfortunate, but you are through, so congratulations. Hey TJ, I hope you're well, mate. At least sunset looks nice while spectating driving, on the other hand. Yep, I can imagine, but it's only for quali. You should be fine in the race. Deflated. So with TD joining me on comms a bit more frequently now, I can do something that I've always wanted to do. Especially in quali, where we have a bit more time to chat. If it's okay with you, TD, I'm going to ask you
No, it's not okay.
a question Oh, thanks. Appreciate that. I'm going to ask you like a question. It could be like, say, who's the GOAT of Formula One, or who's your favourite team, favourite driver?
Okay.
Like for instance, today I'm going to ask you, what's your best memory of real life Formula One?
Oh bloody hell.
You can think about it. You've got 14 minutes.
All I can think about at the moment is my food.
Is what?
My food.
Yeah, you can think about it and maybe get back to me in Q3 if you want.
I'll think about it.
Chat if you want to get involved in that as well. You are more than welcome. Your favourite memory in Formula One could be a favourite driver winning a race. Could be just a memorable moment in general, like Verstappen and Hamilton last season. Could be anything. Could even flex your muscles and pick a memory from the 1980s. If you were watching Formula One that long ago.
I'll have been minus 24 in the 1980s.
Gosh. I was born in the mid-90s, so
I've been minus 9.
I didn't have too many amazing drivers in the late 90s. We had Hakkinen and Schumacher and
Villeneuve.
people like that, but we got a good grid at the moment.
You don't say. You know what? I'll say it now, and I know it's weak. But I think last year in Brazil, Hamilton's drive was just exceptional. That's
Yeah, I enjoyed
a
that.
memory that sticks in my head.
I think I was shouting at Michael Massey that whole race for not giving Max a penalty for forcing Lewis off the track. Although I have nothing against Max, of course, just
It
felt
shouldn't be
that
a
should have been
penalty.
punished.
And because I love George winners. There you go.
Lovely. Chat, feel free to get involved in that as well. Favourite memory or most memorable moment, I guess, from your experience of watching F1. TJ screaming at the telly when Lewis passed Timo Glock to win the World Drivers' Championship at Brazil.
I was 4,
my word.
so I have no idea about F1 then.
You were 4! Bro, I feel so old. I remember that. I remember watching that and I was so confused. I was like, I didn't actually know Lewis had won until he actually crossed the line. And when he crossed the line, you just assumed he was out. He hadn't scored enough points. And then you see the Ferrari mechanics celebrating, and you think they've won it. And then, like, it switches in the brain what's actually happened.
Go on
Yeah,
then.
that's a good.
I'll ask you. What's your favourite memory?
Yeah, TJ, I like that one. Personally, my I have two, but one sticks out more than the other. So the first one is Jenson Button winning his first Grand Prix at Hungary.
What year was that?
That was, I want to say 2004 or 5. But I can't remember which one.
I'll tell you.
Chat, do you know? Button's first wing at Hungary. I think it was mid 2000s, but I can't remember exactly what year. Yeah, the second memory was again Button the whole race at Canada, the rain-soaked race, where he passed Vettel on the last lap, was just incredible.
You'll feel disappointed in yourself.
06,
Yeah.
says Deaton.
It was 06.
Well, I knew it was. I was only 1 year out. I can deal with that.
I was 2.
You still are.
Not quite.
Through goes Hamilton. Yeah, that is one of the more iconic commentary quotes.
And here comes
Got a couple.
Sebastian Vettel.
I've got a couple of lines imagined, dreamt up for Ross tonight if he wins the championship. But we'll have to wait and see.
It's not
You were in the
Tamino,
grandstands.
It's IRossJ. Wins the championships.
You were in the grandstand on the other side of the track, and everyone around the track erupted. Wow, that must have been so good to be at. I know you're out on track, so
It sent bloody shivers down my back. Never mind at the bloody track.
I know, and it was heart in mouth as well, that race, because the rain fell. No one knew what was happening. You boxed for inters, and then Glock stayed out, and you were like, "Oh my word, he's just lost it." Oh, absolute classic. So, 7 minutes left of Q2. Mr. Wiggles is currently the pace setter. Half a second, he has over John and Ross, who are in the top 3 pretty comfortably right now. Perigeri a few tenths away from the top 3. Then we have a few gaps forming behind. Smaller Smiley 4 tenths back. Joseph Hill's a further 4 tenths back. Dayman top 7. Doing pretty well in quali so far for Dayman. We have that guy in Padge pretty close. Then we have Pete and Flew pretty close. But that's not the first time we've said that this season. Them two very evenly paced and evenly matched. Hissy and Deaton currently outside of the comfort zone. And Deflated Wee and Tamino on their flying laps. Going by with Tamino a bit further down the straight than Deflated Wee. Not really sure. Oh, as Tamino goes for a bit of a spin. I wonder if Tamino's using cockpit cam. He said he might. And thankfully, Tamino not only got out of the way, but his car was ghosted. So we wouldn't have to lift off the accelerator at all. And pops his Alpine into 5th.
Double yellows, penalty. Oh. Well, I don't know if Tamino's on our lap, but I think we just blocked Tamino. He definitely has now.
Oh, and Tamino didn't really see that. We just caught the aftermath. But, yeah, possibly a little bit naughty from Wee there. Tamino's still got time on his side. 5 minutes left. Plenty of time to pop back into the pits and come out again. I'm sure even with one attempt, Tamino can get himself into the top 10.
You know, Tamino will be complaining about that in chat. in the Discord. Also, I've got a question.
Go on.
What are the chances that Joseph sends in a clip about penalties?
We'll have to wait and see. But it would be the 4th race in a row if he did today. Joseph on an outlap. 4 tenths behind Smaller Smiley. Currently occupying 6th place. And I think the Fleetwee has apologised to Tamino in Discord, so probably a bit of an unfortunate block there. Have to wait to see if Tamino sends that in. Joseph Hale's really on the ragged edge of this lap. Thought for a second there he cut one of the corners in the S section, but didn't. And finds himself 2 tenths up in the opening sector. Sorry to change the sport, but Bale has come off for Wales at half-time. We'll avoid spoilers for if that's okay, just because I want to catch up later. Joseph Hale's middle sector, very straight line speed dominated. A few corners in there, but mainly straights. And Joseph Hale's currently half a second up on his personal best. So far, so good.
Oh dear.
It's invalidation. Thankfully for Joseph, he doesn't seem to be under too much pressure right now. He's still got 7/10 gap back to Padge, who is the time to beat.
I tell you what, it's so easy to do what Joseph did. Just a little bit of a turn in too early. And you're going over the curb too much.
Yeah, it's way too easy to do. Is one of the longest tracks on the calendar. Not only in terms of track length, but lap time, which means it's going to be easy to lose chunks of time. That is why you are... Oh, as Deaton spins! And if he can keep it out of the barrier, he might have one more run in him before the end of the session. We'll check back in with Deaton in a minute or so. Hissy is off the track and may not get round for another run. So I think Hissy will be heading out in this session.
I think
Tamino's back out on track.
I think Deaton's been given a this and next lap invalidation. Like this stupid game likes to do, so...
It's quite an early point though on track to give her this and next lap.
Yeah, what it does...
The final 2 corners...
if you're off the track for too long, it likes to give you this and next lap. You can get it in the first sector.
That is a good point. So, Flute crossed the line a few moments ago, but couldn't get close enough to Padge, and that guy finds himself 1/10 off the pace and away from a spot in Q3. He might go again here, Flute, but he'll be on very low ERS. Deaton then back into the pits and finishes in 14th. Tamino, his teammate, is out on a lap right now. Hissy, I don't think will make it through. Hissy does stay in 13th. Pete, though. His first lap was on the mediums. This one is on the soft compound tyre, which means it's going to be usually a lot faster. As we see Dayman pit, but he'll be safe in 8th place. Maybe not as safe as we thought, as he drops down to 9th and Pete goes up to 7th. Padge, his teammate, has done a really good lap. 3/10 improvement, putting himself into the top 10. Flew is now out of qualifying, and that guy, that's a slow lap and no improvement. Tamino here is only just slower than his previous best, so needs a good last sector here.
And he's off the track.
And he just runs wide at turn 19 and drives straight on into the barrier. That's a bit cheeky there from Tamino. Obviously very frustrating, but yeah, it doesn't look good, I'm afraid. So unfortunately for Tamino, he will be starting in 15th place, but he has done some really miraculous drives this season. Potentially, well, certainly he needs to do another one. Needs to finish in the top 2, Tamino, to keep this championship fight alive. He starts 15th. Deton, his teammate, 1 position ahead in 14th. Hissy in 13th. Flew in P12. That guy, bit of a shock, surprise exit in Q2. But once again, like we saw in Q1, Mr. Wiggles leading the way in qualifying. I think Dayman will call that the Tamino torpedo. So Q3 underway, 12 minutes, 10 drivers, 1 pole position up for grabs. And this is obviously going to be a massive boost for Ross. Doesn't need to finish in the top 5 here, but as long as Ghost, or Tamino, sorry, finishes 3rd or lower, Ross, doesn't matter where he finishes, could DNF this race.
That was 2 names
could
ago.
be 5 laps down. I knew it was going to happen at some point. But I'm sure Ross will be feeling the pressure a lot less now. Now he knows Tamino is down in 15th. No worries, I'll say no more. Thank you, TJ. Yeah, thank you. I need to mute the Discord chat though. I keep getting notifications through. I need to just mute it. Let's block the screen so I don't see any messages. Mute channel for 3 hours. There we go. That should be enough. And go on to a different chat. There we go. I think I'm safe. I didn't see anything. All 10 then out on track for Q3. Both Mercedes cars in the top 10. First time I think that's happened for a while. Potentially could play some slipstream games with each other.
Same with McLaren as well.
So Deflated Wheat kicks off the 3rd and final part of quali here tonight. Don't forget, Tuesday night is no assist night. All these drivers run absolutely no assists. The hardest form of sim racing you find today. You see, even these experienced league racers are not perfecting that S section every time. Everyone relatively spaced out, not too close to the car, either in front or behind them. One of the blue cars, possibly Joseph Hales, I think, has backed off his time.
Yeah, Joseph.
And has let John John through.
Invalidation by Joseph and Ross at the minute. Oh,
There we go,
and Perry
deflated
Jerry.
wheat. Deflated wheat kicks things off on a 34-3.
How you
Not
will.
everyone will get lap times on the board.
I give Deflated Wheat so much credit because he is on controller, doing no assists around this track.
Yep. Good point.
And
John. My homeboy.
don't ever say that again.
My homeboy goes fastest and then Mr.
Oh
Wiggles
my
just
God.
beats him. Boo! Boo, Mr. Wiggles. How we'd all love to see John win his home race here tonight. Ross has invalidated his second lap. So I imagine he'll be back into the pits at the end of this run for a new set of tyres, and hopefully for the rest of Q3 you can get some confidence back in the cockpit. Don't know what to say. Probably apologise for crashing to wall. There's no one around. It's okay if there's no one around. But obviously, we do ask that you retire in the pits. Just the same rule for everyone, so we're consistent and stuff. So I'll probably have to give you a warning for that. But you know,
Warning. Terrible.
yeah. I'll be so happy during Christmas. Finally, we also not play this game for weeks. We have a 2-week break. Sometimes it's nice to have a break from the game. Sometimes it's nice to just do a bit of racing without any pressure of a league race on the horizon. Joseph Hills pops into third as Dayman on his second run has invalidated. So 4 drivers invalidating their first laps. Hadge back into the pits. Joseph obviously has just set that 34-1, so no one on a lap right now. Harry Jerry about to start one. Did Novatech get his... He will have one before Sunday. Yes.
Novatech. I'm waiting for you to finish the sentence.
So, sorry, TJS, did Novatech get his own command in the stream chat? Yeah, people want their own command. That's fine, just let me know.
What do you mean their own command?
Uh-huh.
What do you mean their own command?
So, for instance, if I were to type !Ross in the chat, it would come up with his own command.
I want one as well.
If you do want one,
I think
let me know in Discord, and we'll agree on something that's witty and also appropriate.
I think mine should say, the man from Yorkshire who loves food.
Sorry, the man from Yorkshire
Who loves food.
who loves food.
Yeah.
Fair.
I think that's pretty appropriate for me.
We can come up with something more witty than that.
Tell you what, because I'm that Yorkshire, I'm gonna go get a cup of tea after this session is finished.
What a legend. Perry Jerry across the line. This looks pretty good, and it's P4. Not too bad. Only just under a tenth away from third place. Ross across the line to complete an invalid lap time, but he will go again. Mr. Wiggles also on track. Sun God, how are you today? I am well, thank you, mate. Been looking after my wife. She had to go to A&E earlier, which is alright. It's a problem with the back, so she got bent down to put plugs in sockets and stuff, so I've been helping her out today. Ross, stiff swerve of the wheel in frustration as he invalidates his lap time.
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks.
Tamino didn't ask how you are, so...
That's what he
It's a
said.
nice little
That
hint for someone. OT44. I decided to go for an actual planet name rather than the planet Zorg or something. So I just googled planet names, and apparently there's a planet called OT44. Don't know why.
T44. I'm confused. I missed something.
In Ross's commands, it says he's an alien visiting Earth from the planet OT44.
Clever.
Mr. Wiggles is on a flyer here. He's up in both sectors 1 and 2. Has less than 1/10 advantage to John, who is currently sat alongside Wiggles on the front row. I'm sure Wiggles would love to extend his grip on provisional pole. Bit of a squirm into turn 19. Doesn't look like it cost him too much time. Across the line, this will be quicker, and it's 3/10 quicker. Very, very good lap there from Mr. Wiggles, who is on provisional pole.
I think that'll have cost him
Yet
a
again.
10th as well. He's turned in a little bit early. Otherwise it would have been invalid, but it was a good correction by Wiggles.
John hasn't started his lap yet. Will get better track conditions through track evolution. That may just be enough to give John a really good opportunity here at his second pole position in IRL. Ross, meanwhile, in 114 races, only has 4 pole positions to his name,
That is mental.
but has recently hit 100 points finishes in this league. It is truly remarkable.
He's nearly got 2 championships, several wins, and he's only got 4 poles.
And when you think he was runner-up to Fairley in NA Season 1, Ross goes 4th by 3 milliseconds ahead of Perry Jerry, who is in the pits. So Perry Jerry won't be able to improve here. So he was runner-up to Fairley in NA Season 1. Ross was runner-up in AT1 Season 1. Finally got his first championship last season in no assist. Could be back-to-back here tonight. Wiggles finishes on that 33.3 as Deflated Weed goes up to 6th place, I believe, on a 34.3. No, it must be someone else who finished. I think Dayman maybe, or Padge, has just put in a lap time and gone quicker.
John improving at the minute, which is a bit frustrating for him, I bet.
Needs to have a mighty last sector. It's a 33.4, and it is so close from John. Only 3 hundredths in it. Can Joseph Hales then snatch this pole position? It would be a massive underdog story as Pete goes 8th fastest across the line. Joseph Hales does improve, and that is quite mad to think that he just went wide at the final corner. Deflated Wheat improves to 4th and pushes Ross down to P5, who is invalid on his final run.
I think Joseph lost at least a couple of attempts there, which I think he'll be slightly frustrated at, but it's still P3.
I think slightly fortunate he didn't get invalids with that lap time, so evening snacks.
Snacks.
So Mr. Wiggles.
No football commentary. Spoilers.
Yes, please. Mr. Wiggles then, the record pole position holder in the league, racks up number 16 in 118 races. Pretty good ratio, if you ask me. John on his home race. Alongside him on the front row of the grid, then we have Joseph Hales, Deflated Wee, Ross, Perry, Jerry, Smaller, Pete, Dayman, and Padge in the top 10. Hungry Throne has joined late as well, and he will start at the very back of the grid in 20th.
Son John is in a big, massive English sandwich.
You and food, you just can't stop talking about sandwiches, can you?
I wasn't even meaning it about food. It was just in a big, massive English sandwich.
Yeah. yeah.
I want to talk about food then. I'm off to go and make a cup of tea.
Right, well, you enjoy your cup of tea. I'll catch up with chat and then we'll do the feature driver. Is it going to rain or is it going to be dry? It's going to be dry all the way. As you can see on the screen, blue skies, sun is out, and no rain forecast for the race. Getting going in around about 5 minutes' time. Thank you for the follow as well, Moses. Pretty sure that's Hungry Throne. But yes. Snacks! Stop spoiling it! I'm deleting your message. Stop ruining it for me. I haven't seen it. Well, it's ruined for me now. That was genuine. That was genuine annoyance. It's fine. I know the score now, so it doesn't really matter. As long as we win, I don't really care. Anyway, let's move. Let's move on. Look at all those messages from Snack. Let's move on. Only 4 poles from Ross, says Tamino. Yes, only 4 poles. It is incredible to think that Ross only has 4 pole positions but has 65 podiums in this league. It is mental. Right, let's do feature driver. Home race tonight for John from the USA, 21 years of age. He works as a fueler for Brian Herter Autosport in IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge. I don't know what that means too much, but it sounds pretty cool. His dream job would be to work in F1 or WEC. Hobbies and interests include playing golf. Very American sport, that. Racing on a Fanatec Club Sport V2.5 wheel. Favourite drivers: F1, Kevin Magnussen in IndyCar, Pato O'Ward, NASCAR, Chase Elliott. Best track on the calendar would be Canada. As for his racing strengths, he says race pace, not crashing, clean driving strategy, and tyre management. And I asked this at the start of the season, what are your hopes and goals for Season 3? He would love to go for the championship. Hasn't quite worked out for him as well as he hoped. But still, some very impressive stuff this season, and considers Ross to be a rival in this league. As for his stats in the league, he has done 22 races here in IRL, 1 pole position and 1 win that have come all this season. So has been his best season yet. 7 podiums, 18 points finishes, only the 3 DNFs, which is pretty impressive stuff. And if he gets a podium here tonight, will amass 250 total points here in the league. John very much a part of the furniture, has been around for a while now. And certainly wouldn't be the same if he weren't here. Right, we are getting going in 10 seconds time. Remember, no formation lap. We are heading straight into the race. And 20 drivers ploughing into that turn 1 corner is going to be very interesting. Mr. Wiggles is on pole position. John is alongside on the front row.
Oh, I'm back in time.
And the USA Grand Prix is underway. Tire strategies on the screen. Good start from Deflated Wee. Looked to be going up the inside. Oh, and John has tagged Mr. Wiggles. Thankfully, Mr. Wiggles hasn't been spun round, but Deflated Wee has taken second away from John. They are all jockeying for position into this S section. A couple threatening to go too wide. Looks like the 2 Alfa Romeos are looking to make moves through the field, but it's all pretty close. No one's lost any time too much. Oh, what's happened to Padge? Fighting with Tamino. And Flute with a switchback, looking to make moves. Oh, and Tamino's gone! And Hissy too. Hissy's round. Colucci, I think, possibly was involved in that. Runier, I think, maybe. Well, it's all been a bit hectic around that second hairpin, turn 11. For this top 17, looks to be all clean stuff. It's Greg close to Prev. Tyre strategies on the screen, as you can see. Predicted pit stop strategy. It's going to be pretty close between a 1-stop and a 2-stop this race. Drivers going side by side. Ross going for a move on John in the opening corner. Ross going for the lunge. All clean stuff. Perry, Jerry and Joseph also side by side. Ross getting ahead of John into the S section as Perry Jerry moves up into 5th. Joseph Hales still right on the tail.
Contact with Hungary.
Dayman, contact with Hungary. Throne was that?
Yes, indeed. That's associated with food as well.
Owen Prev has had a bit of a spin, is ghosted.
Got damage to something as well.
Padge has lost a bit of time as well. Runier losing a few seconds in the last lap. So a few mistakes out there maybe, as Ross is now past Deflated Wee already, and Ross is flying right now.
He's doing it for the pan again.
Perry Jerry doing well to reduce that gap to John, not letting John escape, so that when DRS is now enabled, Perry Jerry can have some of that. Mr. Wiggles leads by 0.6 in the opening stages of this race. Smaller Smiley and that guy trying to stay within contention of Joseph here, are using the hard compound tyres, which will make their life a little bit trickier at this stage in the race.
Oh, first penalty, the first midway.
And expect to see a lot of them this week. This is Time Penalty City.
Will I make a prediction and I'll win the penalties?
There's an Aston Martin off, and that is Flew. Was having a really good start to this race, opted for the soft compound tyre, the only one to do so. But in the S section has had a bit of a mare, as they say.
I like that
has dropped now.
Overheated tyres.
Very, very possibly. So this top 15, all relatively close to each other. A few gaps here and there. Oh, as we have Perry Jerry's gone. Oh, and he's done a beautiful pirouette and doesn't lose as much time as he normally would, but you just saw there maybe a bit too much steering angle into the long triple apex right-hander. And when these cars are filled to the brim with fuel, they are very heavy and they will lose traction very easily. Ross, meanwhile, has shown exactly why he averages a podium in every other race that he races in. And there's a possibility that these top two could drop Deflated Wee out of DRS range.
It's out of DRS range, and this RP hasn't got the DRS.
Mr. Wiggles this season has had plenty of races where he was in a winning position, but the result hasn't come his way for whatever reason. Oh, as Deflated Wee spins out of the hairpin, out of turn 12, Deflated Wee goes for a bit of a spin and is now down into 8th place. And Joseph Hales has had a bit of a spin. Gosh, they're all
we're all doing it, you!
they were copying the spin god. They must have been watching on Sunday night. I have to admit, it was obviously not amazing to spin on Sunday, but it was nice to be back out there. So now, all of a sudden, this top two now have a 3.6 second lead over John, who has lost a bit of time in previous lap 4. This battle now for P6, led by Pete in the McLaren, has 4 different constructors in there. Constructors title is already wrapped up. AlphaTauri wrapped that up last week. Hungary Throne. Hungary for 9th place. Perry Jerry will have to be careful here. Perry has the rear wing open, the DRS. Allows for better aerodynamic control of the car, allows for a better top speed, makes it pretty good for an overtake, but not on this occasion. It's a good little battle forming here. Oh, a smaller spun. My word. I think whoever wins is just not.
Whoever doesn't spin.
It's the person who doesn't spin this race. I mean, we do know this track doesn't have as much grip as others. Tamino now on a recovery drive. Reminder for this race, Ross will be crowned NA champion this season if he finishes 5th or above. Tamino needs to win or finish 2nd to keep the championship alive.
I think the Slate is struggling with these tap limits. He's already won one in away from another penalty.
Knock yourself out, TJ.
Nice, isn't it? Oh, Pete on that guy. Oh, Pete spins.
Oh my words. I can't remember the last race that I've seen so many people spin in this opening section.
There you are, that was a commentator's curse.
It's not even commentator's curse.
I went on to him, and then he spun.
So deflated wheat aside from that earlier spin, as that's just Runnier's car. He has retired from this race in the pits. Some stupid reason brings his car back out onto the track for no reason that we can possibly think of.
Look at the reactions from the drivers, not to hit his car.
True. I should probably expect his car to be ghosted there, but. So after Spin City, let's have a look at position change. You can see that guy up 7.
Oh, Wiggles and Ross.
Fighting for the lead now. Mr. Wiggles stays ahead. These two will need to be aware that the more they fight, the more opportunity John has to close that gap. But currently, top dog in terms of positions gained is Hungry Throne, up 12 from the very back of the grid where he started. And could be on here for a move past Perry Jerry. Deaton, Greg, Colucci also with decent starts, gaining a few places each. Tamino is up 5, would be up a lot more if he didn't have a spin in the opening couple of laps. Hungry Throne there on the hard compound tyres. This is where the hards now start to be the better tyre. Those mediums starting to get a little bit shredded. Hungry Throne looking for the move in the S section, but Perry defending his position. Red light blinking at the back of the engine means the driver is less than 25% ERS left. So these drivers are using their ERS
Less than 10%.
to stay within reach of the car ahead, making sure they get the DRS so they don't get easily overtaken.
You say less than 25% or less than 10%?
I know on the last game it was less than 25, but
It's 10% on this game.
is it 10%?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, there you go.
Learn something new every day.
Well, you didn't, because you already knew it. Prev retiring in the pits there. So both Ferraris choosing to retire in the opening 8 laps.
This is why Matteo not resigned. Poor strategy.
Sometimes it just doesn't work out, and maybe they have some things that they can get on with in the meantime, which is all good.
Ross is very close to Wiggles here.
Opting for the outside line. Very interesting there from Ross.
Oh, go for the inside for the next corner though.
Oh, and almost makes contact. Imagine the scenes.
The party would have gone erupt.
Tamino past Pete for 9th. Flute overtakes Dayman, who comes into the pits for a pit stop. Put the tyres back on. That guy doing really well to stay within contention, as Mr. Wiggles on lap 10 laps his teammate already. And what is going on here? Out of the final corner, there's a bit of shuffling going on.
Something with that guy, I think.
Harry Jerry has made his way past Hungry Throne and that guy. That guy was in 5th, now down to P7, and has lost a bit of time, so maybe a couple of mistakes around the final 2 corners.
Joseph was right behind as well, so I don't know whether maybe a little bit of contact on that.
Possibly. I've noticed Joseph Hills has a time penalty. Will he send it in?
Yeah, probably.
Hungry Throne, good opportunity here. Harry Jerry doesn't have the DRS. Fully alongside. Hungry Throne, half a car ahead. Full car ahead. Harry had to back off there. He knew that. That guy behind Joseph. Joseph making that move in the final, in the last few moments. Tamino back into the points, but he needs to finish in the top 2 to have any chance. To have any chance of keeping this championship fight alive, as wide go Joseph and that guy.
Into pits
Joseph pits.
And Perry.
I imagine it'd be hard compound tyres for both of them.
Unless they're doing a 2-stop, maybe another set of mediums. We will see. Joseph picks the hards, Perry onto the hards.
John is definitely not losing time to this top 2, but it's so difficult to gain ground on Ross when you don't have the DRS. Ross here can just sit behind Mr. Wiggles, save his ERS, use the DRS to keep him close, and try and put Mr. Wiggles under pressure and force him into a mistake. Maybe get a time penalty.
I think the best bet for John now is maybe an undercut. Have a change of strategy compared to the 2 in front of him. He's got a big, massive gap to deflated wheel. So he's got the opportunity to. But Ross is in.
And Ross, meanwhile, is going for the undercut. Will John follow? No, he stays out to gain 2nd place. And Ross, this could be That was a very successful opening stint for what could be a championship drive. Where will Ross come out of the pits here? There's a few gaps in the field, and he's going to come out ahead of his teammates.
And the problem for Ross now is he's going to have extremely cold hard tyres.
Hungry Throne picks up a time penalty. Dayman retires in the pits. You can see how much that guy's struggling on those hards. They really don't give a massive amount of grip compared to the mediums. Question is, will Mr. Wiggles and John box this lap and respond to Ross's stop? Hungry Throne still fighting here with Deflated Wee over third place.
Wiggles into the pits along with John.
I imagine Deflated Wee is probably heading into the pits as well. There's not too much point fighting Hungry Throne here and ruining your tyres even more. Hungry Throne comes through to take the lead of the race. Mr. Wiggles comes out just behind the race leader, and I imagine in the next couple of laps there will be a possible move for the lead of the race. However, Ross, after that undercut opportunity, finds himself pretty much exactly where he was. He is going to gain in this opening two sectors of this lap, but he might not get the move done.
He's getting
on this
8
occasion
tenths through that first sector. It shows the difference between warm and cold tyres.
Certainly does, and I think this is Ross's best opportunity that he's possibly had in this race to take what will be the lead of the Grand Prix when Hungry Throne pits. But Mr. Wiggles probably using some ERS, staying ahead. John comes out of the pits around 5 seconds behind Ross in total, as Tamino tagging on his coattails, but Tamino will be boxing probably around about lap 17 or 18. And Mr. Wiggles' tyres now up to temperature, starting to reduce that gap to Hungry Throne. Let's check in with some other drivers then. Deaton, recently pitting onto mediums, has Mr. Colucci ahead, Pete ahead on a brand new set of hard compound tyres.
Deaton goes for a different strategy and definitely doing a 2-stop along with Greg.
There was some stuff on social media from some F1 drivers about doing a 2-stop on this track. And apparently, there's not too much difference here between the 1 and the 2-stop. Just depends if you feel quick enough to hit an extra time and go flat out and risk getting some time penalties along the way.
It all depends on confidence as well, on each set of tyres.
Hissy yet to pit, losing out on 11th. However, he'll lose out on 10th anyway once he pits for new tyres. Joseph now up into the points as Hungry Throne our race leader pits. I have to say that's probably a bit of an early stop for those hard compound tyres. Do you think people were ditching those mediums on lap 11? He's going to have to take those mediums another 14 laps here. So potentially could be a couple of laps too early for Hungry Throne. But maybe he's good on tyre wear. Out of the pits he comes ahead of Deflated Wheat, whose tyres are already up to temperature. You can see there through the S section on board with Deflated Wheat that when you're running so close to a car in front of you, it's so easy to have your rhythm ruined.
Ross is closer to Wiggles, is that? Going for the move into the turn 11. Oh, they're very close to each other. Oh, this is great racing.
Super stuff there from Ross, who takes the lead of the race.
Back.
It's a bold move there from Wiggles, trying to go around the outside of 16, 17 and 18, but I'm sure Ross here, as things stand, is going to win the championship, but he'd love to do it with a win.
Wiggles going to the back to the move into turn 1. Absolutely sends it into turn 1.
Ross broke super early, made sure that he got a nice switch back, good line, a good move out of the corner, and it's paid off. That's brilliant from Ross, really is.
Lovely driving from Bittu.
To brake that much earlier, set the car up, he knew exactly what he was doing there. As we say in Rocket League, that was calculated.
This is Rocket League.
Oh, and Tamino's gone for a spin once again. And you get the feeling Tamino 100% here needs a safety car. As Wiggles overtakes Ross Patch into the pits to take off those medium compound tyres and speeds in the pit lane for good measure. Pretty much half the field with time penalties. Only 7 drivers of the remaining 17 yet to pick up a penalty. John 3.2 behind this gap, so really we are as things were before the pit stops. Smaller Smiley going long on the opening stint here might be tempting to stay out and go on the softs.
The only problem with the
I'm
softs
not
around
sure.
here is that overheat, and sort of when they get to a certain point they just lose so much performance.
I'm not sure they are a very good race tyre here. So I imagine smaller will be in maybe this lap to go on to the mediums. But it's not the first time. I could be wrong. Out of turn 11 then, blast down, Ross opens the rear wing. Mr. Wiggles has more ERS in this stage in the fight. And you can just see John gets to within 3.2, 3.3, and then down that main straight he just loses 0.3. There's nothing he can do here to catch up. He needs these top 2 to make a mistake. But they're not doing that. We'll check back in later with the top 2. I'm sure they're going to be switching positions for the next 10 laps. Pete meanwhile has his eyes set on P11. Deaton occupying it right now. There's 6 drivers ahead of these two with time penalties. So still a good opportunity here as Smaller Smiley pits from 4th for Deton and Pete to get some points here tonight. And Smaller Smiley does prove me right and goes on to the mediums. Hissy also in the pits.
Come out in P9 smaller. So there's definitely a possibility of more points for smaller. He also doesn't have any time penalties.
That guy getting past Joseph Hales into turn 1 down the inside. Makes that move stick. Has 7th place. Tamino, the only driver yet to make a pit stop. Currently in P6. As Ross and Mr. Wiggles battling.
Round 4.
This is pretty much a UFC fight now between these two.
Like a boxing fight, who's going to blink first?
What's the last thing you want to do? Is take the other driver out, make a huge mistake, have a spin. That will ruin your chances at winning this race. Or of course, run wide and get a time penalty. And here comes Ross. Pulls out to the inside, gets fully alongside. Yeah, that's a nice move there from Ross. Wiggles had nowhere to go on the exit, had to back out of it. John really senses an opportunity here to get back into this race, has reduced that gap now to 2.1 seconds. You can see him in the background getting ever so closer to the top 2. That guy defending P6, he's passed Tamino. Now I've got Joseph Hales on the back of Tamino in his Alfa Romeo. He's looking to go long, Tamino, and hope for a safety car that will put him back into the running here. John now under 2 seconds. Now 1.5 behind Wiggles and Ross. Flea pits onto a new set of mediums as Joseph Hill just runs a little bit wide. Loses a couple of tenths to Tamino. Lap 20 of 28, we are getting very much into crunch time, and John is absolutely flying. 1.3 now behind Wiggles and Ross. Get the feeling that John's engine is screaming for some more ERS. It's probably completely drained at this point. Just needs to stick in there. Needs to wait it out. Keep doing what he's doing. He's done really well to reduce that gap by 2 seconds. And there is an opportunity here for John to win his home race, but needs to drive flawlessly for the remainder. Hungry Throne is in 4th place pretty comfortably, has an 11-second advantage on Deflated Wii. We have that guy Joseph Hales, who have been battling in that upper mid-card for a while now. Smaller Smiley getting past Tamino after his recent pit stop. Tamino has to come into the pits pretty soon here. Pete currently 10th in the final points paying position, as Hungry Throne is the one on the move with the new fastest lap of the race. Don't forget, Tamino needs to win or come second to keep the championship alive. If Ross finishes in the top 5, regardless where Tamino finishes, Ross will be champion here tonight. Ross is doing everything he needs to do. John here would love to make it a home win here in Austin. Plenty of gaps throughout the fields, and only 6 drivers now who have managed to not get a time penalty so far. Wiggles leads Ross by 4 tenths. John is 1.3 seconds behind that group and is looking to break within that DRS gap. The DRS range of 1 second. Hungry Throne is P4 and looks favourite to get 4th here. Deflated Wee is in 5th and defending from that guy in P6. That guy with a new set of mediums on the car will be slightly quicker in this stage of the race as Pete makes his way past Tamino, who I think has had a bit of a moment.
Just had a spin.
Just had a spin, there you go. Smaller Smiley having a good race, penalty free, and within 3 seconds of Joseph Hales. That's definitely going to get him ownership of 7th. Ross very close here to the back of Mr. Wiggles. This fight is going to get closer now, because with these top 2 running this close, John, as you can see, is now threatening DRS range. And I do not want to predict who is going to win this race. Any ideas, TD?
John.
Oh, he's going for it. I mean, when you think that these 3 are not only on no assists, not only fighting and pushing for every 10th of a second that they can, with how fast they've been driving, how clear they are of Deflated Wee. 20 seconds now clear of Deflated Wee, which is no easy feat as Flea retires in the pits. To keep it clean for 23 laps. They really have all raced incredibly well.
That's Ross's
And
race
speak of the devil, IRossJ. When was the last time you saw him get a time penalty? And that might have cost him the win here.
And I tell you what,
He'd still be on the podium as things stand, and he will still win the championship.
there is absolutely no chance of Wiggles getting a penalty unless he makes a big massive mistake, as he has no warnings at all.
No warnings. I have to say, Wiggles has had some very impressive races, but this has been his best so far. Of course, it's not over yet. Things can still happen. F1 always throws up some interesting moments when you least expect them to. If you're just joining us, this is round 19 of 22. 3 streams this week: Tuesday, Of course, today for no assist drivers, join us on Thursday for AT1 and Sunday for AT2. As things stand, Ross in second place. If he finishes 5th or above, he will win the No Assist Tier Championship for Season 3. His title contender, AMS Tamino, is in 10th place right now, and Tamino needs to finish in the top 2 to keep things alive. It has been a thoroughly impressive season from Ross once again. Greg pits onto a set of softs, mirroring TRC Deton, possibly both of them fighting for the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. It's not over yet. John was within DRS range for a little bit, has now just lost a few tenths. Ross will be pushing that much harder because he now needs to overtake Mr. Wiggles. As down the inside of Deflated Wee goes that guy. Deflated Wee sticks it down the inside. Brilliant driver respect. But round the outside, that guy has the traction and makes the move up into 5th. Penalties now on the screen. You can see how much time people will lose at the end of the race. Deflated Wee with 9 seconds is going to lose a place to Smaller Smiley. And that guy will as well with 6 seconds. Smaller on for a top 5 here. As things stand, Hungry Throne is gaining on the leaders, but I'm not sure he's going to have a realistic shot at a podium here tonight.
Tamino has a puncture.
And Tamino, has he even pitted yet?
Nope.
He's not even pitted yet, and that's exactly why. And into the pits he attempts to go. And I imagine he'll be in for a set of soft tyres. Ross makes the move down the inside of Mr. Wiggles. That is exactly what he needed to do. Ross's job now, as amazing as it would be, is to try and gain a 3-second lead on Mr. Wiggles to win this Grand Prix. Tamino retiring in the pits, as you can see, which confirms Ross is champion. Ross knows that Tamino has retired. It's popped up on his screen. The pressure is off. The question is now, can Ross possibly
win on track at least? Oh, this is a bit hampered.
Oh, that is...
That is lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, that was... somehow Tamino gets involved with Ross's race.
He tried to make a DNF.
This has brought John back into this now a little bit. That's a slight distraction. Unlucky Tamino. Just wasn't to be this season, but I'm sure if you stick around next season, you'll have every opportunity to do one better. But really, this season, Ross has been untouchable. In 17 races prior to this one, he has won 5, which is the most of anyone. He has got 15 podiums and only failed to score points on 1 occasion. He really has been different gravy this season.
I know how to win races. Do 4 laps of practice and then you'll win.
And that's the thing. For those who don't know Ross very well, he doesn't practice. Imagine how quick, how good he would be if he actually did practice. We could possibly... If Ross practiced, honestly, he could potentially grow into an esports level of driver. And I'm not just saying that because he's good. He genuinely actually could do that. But, as the saying goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And Ross does his own thing, and it works for him. Hungry Throne gets another time penalty. It won't make too much of a difference. He will still get 4th place from 20th on the grid. Hungry Throne, what a race from him. From his perspective. TD, have a start who your driver of the day will be. John here, still in with a shot at winning this race. All he needs to do is get past Ross. If I was Ross here, I'd be tempted to let John through and maybe let him and Wiggles fight it out. That would be a grandstand finish. He must be getting some secret info of game and setups. I know Ross doesn't.
All the time.
I know what Ross does in time trial. He deletes his times so no one can use his setups. I do know that. So he is very secretive of that. You are right. But all credit to Ross for being the incredible driver he is. You can see just in the background there the 3 leaders starting their final lap of the race. We still don't know who's going to win.
If Wiggles just wants to be nice and let John win his home race, that'd be amazing.
Ordinarily, I'd say that is a great idea. However, Wiggles has been in winning positions before, and a couple of small mistakes have cost him wins. You think of when he got disqualified in Singapore for going into the pits and accidentally overtaking the safety car for half a second. That possible win was ruined from him. I remember the intense battle we had with Tamino in Monaco, where he was doing so well, but crashed out with a handful of laps left. Could it be redemption day for Mr. Wiggles? Only a few more corners to navigate. 2 90-degree left-handers in the offing. Mr. Wiggles has left it all on the racetrack today, exits the final corner and takes a well-deserved win in the USA, but the championship goes to Ross for the 2nd straight season. Absolutely incredible stuff from Ross. Taking the championship with 3 races to spare. And that is not to say that the others haven't been good enough. That is just to say Ross has been different gravy. Drivers crossing the line to finish and get some points. Pete, good result there for the McLaren boys. Smaller Smiley, really good stuff to keep it clean and get into 5th. Hungry Throne from 20th on the grid will finish in 4th. And Hissy will finish taking the final point of the race. Colucci, Deaton just missing out. Greg, Perigeri and Padge will finish this race outside of the points but classified.
I think there might have been contact between John and Deflated earlier in the race, that's why Deflated's gone.
Oh really?
Because Deflated just put in the chat, cheers John, we even now ? And a laughing emoji. So there may have been contact between the two.
So last week, we tagged John when he was leading the race and got a time penalty for it at the end of the race. Maybe roles reversed here in the States. Mr. Wiggles though with a well-deserved win. John in his home Grand Prix, really strong performance, especially catching back up to Wiggles and Ross in that 2nd stint. But just missing out on the race win here tonight. Ross, podium, his 16th podium in 18 races. I can't begin to say how impressive that is. And of course, with the championship here tonight. Hungry Throne finishes in 4th from the back of the grid. Really strong race and a fastest lap as well. Really impressive stuff there from Hungry Throne. Smaller Smiley, That Guy, Wee, Joseph, Pete and Hissy in the points. Handful of retirements. Tamino, Flu, Dayman, Prev and Runnier. So, TD.
Hi.
Hi. Who is your driver of the day tonight?
I know I've asked. Can I give it to 2 before?
You can.
Can I give it to 3?
No.
Damn it. Wiggles and Ross said.
Okay, who are your special mentions?
John. Hungry Fern. Smaller Smiley.
Sorry, I am just hiccuping. I'm not dead, don't worry.
I know you don't like it.
Well, that was absolutely... That was absolutely brilliant stuff. And we're not done yet. We got 2 more races this week and potential for 2 more championship winning drives this week. Trust me, this is a week that you don't want to miss out on the action. It just remains for me to thank TD for joining me tonight and putting up with my tomfoolery.
Okay.
Thanks for that. Well done to Mr. Wiggles for what seems a bit like Redemption Day tonight. Finally taking that elusive win that he should have had maybe a few races ago in Singapore. But ultimately, IRossJ is your Season 3 NA champion. And moving from one champion to another, this guy is an awesome streamer. Hope you guys enjoy his stream. And we'll see you on Thursday night.